Time to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for you today in the rLounge. Nothing like a little family drama to prove that what goes around really does come around. Today in the rLounge, when you mess with someone's inheritance, make sure you don't end up on their doorstep asking for a bailout. Stepsister blocked me from attending my dad's funeral until his lawyer stepped in and disclosed the will. My dad passed away suddenly 3 days ago, and tomorrow is his funeral. The news felt like a punch in my guts, especially since we had just started to reconnect after years of strained relations. I'm not in the right state of mind, feeling anxious, and I don't know what to do. Writing it here with the hope that it eases up my nerves a little bit. It's not only about losing my dad, but dealing with his narcissistic family is driving me up the wall. To give you a bit of background, my parents got divorced when I was 9. Mom moved out of town to live with her parents. They had joint custody. However, I lived with my dad for most of the time. They didn't want to disrupt my school. I visited my mom during summers and holidays. I asked them the reason for their divorce. They told me they didn't love each other anymore, but later I realized Dad was cheating on Mom, because immediately after the divorce, he married his girlfriend, Jackie, and she moved in with us. She's a wicked woman. Okay, I'll admit, I may have a biased opinion of Jackie initially. It might be wrong of me to think of her as a homewrecker. However, as we lived together, I became sure she was a cruel woman. If she was not enough, she brought home her evil daughter, Chloe. Jackie fought for months with her ex-husband over Chloe's custody, and when she finally won and brought Chloe home, I wondered why on earth would anyone fight for this piece of crap. Jackie had poisoned her so badly that she hated her dad and would gang up with her mother to curse her dad. Not only this, she grew possessive of my dad and tried to push me away. Chloe was 3 years older than me and always seemed to have it out for me. Maybe it was because I represented a part of my dad's life that didn't include her mom, or perhaps she was just a naturally mean and narcissistic person. Either way, we were always in a battle zone. After graduating from middle school, I moved out to live with my mom full-time and distanced myself from my dad and his new family. It wasn't that I didn't love my dad, but the environment at his house was toxic for me. He tried to be neutral between me and Chloe, only then he was not. Saying anything to Chloe was like fighting with Jackie. She was so protective of her daughter that she would not let Chloe lift a finger at the house, where I was assigned the household chores. Whenever Dad tried to enforce discipline on her, Jackie would come to her defense. I hate to say this while he's lying dead in one of the boxes at the funeral homes. Maybe Dad was not strong enough to speak up in front of Jackie, hence Chloe got away with her wickedness. I suffered throughout my childhood because of his weakness. I counted the days to complete middle school and run away from that toxic household. I took admission in high school near my mom's place and lived with her. Mom was seeing a man back then, and after I moved out for college, she got married to him and shifted to his place in Eastern Europe. Over the years, Dad tried to reach out to repair the bond. I was apprehensive about it. I knew Jackie and Chloe hated me, and they would pick up on my dad. Chloe still lives with them because she's been saving money for her business. Dad even paid for her college tuition from where she dropped out within a year. I got to know from various relatives that Dad was not happy living with them. He wanted me back in his life. However, I kept my distance. Until last year when I finally decided to give it a shot to our bond. We started rebuilding our relationship. Initially, it was awkward. I had some very bitter memories of childhood which made me reluctant to open up. However, he put a lot of effort and ease into making me comfortable. We were making good progress. We went fishing and golfing and talked about everything we'd missed. I felt like we were finally getting back on track. Then tragedy struck. Today morning, I got a call from Uncle Peter, Dad's close friend and lawyer, telling me that Dad had a heart attack and passed away. The news hit me like a truck. I was overwhelmed with grief and guilt for not having spent more time with him. I asked him about the funeral date, but he had no clue at the time. He said he would find out and let me know. He said Jackie and Chloe were taking care of this. They haven't informed anyone about his death. Uncle Peter was informed because he's the lawyer, so he had to be involved to take care of the legalities of Dad's estate. I tried to reach out to Jackie and Chloe about the funeral arrangements, but received no responses. Jackie chose to ignore my existence. Chloe replied with a short, dismissive message. "You're not invited to the funeral." I blew up her phone asking for an explanation as to why was I not invited. She didn't respond. I checked with other relatives if they were informed, but none of the family members on Dad's side knew about this. Luckily, Peter got me covered. He gave me the details of the funeral. I texted back to Chloe that I'm going to attend the funeral. They can do whatever they want, but they cannot stop me from attending my dad's last rites. She replied that it was my dad's deathbed wish that I not be allowed to his funeral because I abandoned him years ago, and she was just honoring his wishes. I was stunned. How was this even possible? I met him a month ago over dinner and there were no issues between us. How could he suddenly change his mind that he didn't want me to attend his funeral? I called up Peter to inform him what Chloe had told me. He assured me that nothing of that sort had happened. Chloe was just messing around with me. If my dad had any such wishes, he would have informed Peter as he was his lawyer. Fair enough. So it was just a facade to play with my emotions. I'm definitely going to attend the funeral tomorrow and I'll see who dares to stop me. Thanks for reading this. I'll be lurking here for tonight. Don't think I can sleep. There are just so many emotions, so many thoughts racing in my mind. I regret ignoring him those many years. I wish I had forgiven him sooner. First off, I'm so sorry to hear of the loss of your father, OP. I'm glad you've got Uncle Peter on your side. It's pretty clear that Jackie and Chloe are making a mockery of the whole situation. Go to the funeral, not just to pay your respects, but to stand up to show them that no matter how many years went by, you're still part of the family and worthy of closure. You shouldn't have to deal with any of this after the death of a loved one. Update 1. Thanks for the condolences. Really appreciate all the warm comments and DMs. Connecting with you guys on the comments helped me through the dark night. Here's what happened next. I went to my dad's funeral only to be blocked by Chloe. She was standing at the entrance welcoming the guests, who were basically their friends and acquaintances who came to console them. Dad's side of the family was not invited. They were not even informed. If not for Uncle Peter, I too would have missed my dad's funeral. The moment Chloe saw me, her face twisted into a scowl. I called Peter to check where he was. He said he was stuck in traffic and would be slightly late. I regretted coming early. Not that I was scared of her, but I didn't want to have a fight in front of my dad's dead body. I walked inside the funeral home and she came in my way, saying I wasn't allowed inside. I was grief-stricken. I said I don't want to have any confrontation at this moment of grief. She screamed, "Can't you hear? You are not invited. Dad told this when he was dying. He didn't want to see your face." I stopped and asked, "Why would he say that?" She got confused and said, "I don't know. Maybe he didn't like you. Oh yeah, he wanted to reconnect with you, but you shut him away, so he disowned you." I scoffed at her face and said, "Really? Is that what you know? That's history. When was the last time you spoke to him?" She rolled her eyes and replied, "I don't need to answer you. Why are you wasting my time? This is not what I want. This was Dad's wish, and I'm just honoring his last words." I wanted to strangle her at this point, yet I maintained my calm. I was like, "Oh really? And were you there when he took his last breath? Were you present when he had the heart attack?" She screamed her lungs out. "Shut up and get out before I call the cops on you." I also yelled back, "You want to call the cops? Call. Let them come and decide who should be allowed in and who not." She pulled out her phone and made a call. Don't know to whom. I also called Peter to check his arrival. He was almost there. Chloe called security and told them to throw me out. They came to me and gently asked me to leave. I tried to make them understand the situation. They politely informed me that since Jackie and Chloe were organizing the funeral, they had to obey their orders. Hence, I should leave. Peter arrived by then and he spoke to the security guards. He escorted me inside and Chloe came forward and told him I'd have to leave as I had no right to attend the funeral. Peter remained calm and replied with a straight face, "He has every right to be here. This is his father's funeral." Chloe started screaming at him, threatening to kick him out as well. Things escalated between them and the security informed Jackie about the situation. She walked over, trying to defuse the chaos. "Peter, let's not make a scene. This is a family matter." Peter responded to Jackie in a cold voice. "Exactly. He is family. You have no legal right to bar him from attending. If you try to prevent him from paying the last respect to his father, I will take legal action against you." Chloe looked like she wanted to argue, but Jackie put a hand on her arm, shaking her head. They stepped aside and I walked past them. My heart was pounding as I approached my dad's casket. I tell you, nothing hurt more than seeing your loved ones lying lifeless inside that box. Dad had instructed Peter to inform all his friends and relatives in a situation like this because maybe he knew that Chloe and Jackie would try to keep his family away from the funeral. Dad's siblings, other distant family members, and some of his close friends also showed up. Jackie had to allow them because Peter stood at the entrance, escorting everyone inside. Jackie and Chloe didn't like it, but they had to suck it up. The service was beautiful, filled with heartfelt speeches and memories of my dad. I felt a deep sadness for the years we lost. After the service, several family members and friends came up to me, expressing their condolences and support. I realized then how much my dad had talked about me, how proud he was of the person I'd become despite our distance. As I left the funeral home, I went to thank Uncle Peter for his support. It was because of him I was able to attend my dad's funeral. He put a comforting arm around my shoulder and said, "Your dad loves you very much. Don't ever forget that. See you tomorrow at my office for the will. I asked him if I was really required because I had a flight back home the next day. I don't think I had any business involved in the will. Not for the sake of saying, but I honestly didn't expect anything rolling to me. My dad was not so well off, and whatever little he had, he would have left to Jackie and Chloe. However, Peter insisted I be present and that it was important. I didn't take it seriously and didn't attend the meeting. One reason was that I was pretty sure that Dad would have left nothing to me because it was only a year ago that I agreed to work our relationship. Second, I didn't want any further encounters with Jackie and Chloe. They screwed up my mind and I wanted to prioritize my mental health. So I took the flight for my way back home and skipped the meeting. After landing, I switched on my phone with 20 plus calls and several messages from Uncle Peter, Jackie, and Chloe. The initial calls and messages were from him asking me to come down for the will. Since I was not responding, Chloe and her mother forced him to disclose the will. He did so, and they didn't like it. As per Dad's will, the house and insurance money went to Jackie, but Chloe didn't get anything. Dad had some $250,000 investment in small businesses, which he had given to me. However, at present, the value of that money has almost doubled. Peter asked me to come down to his office to collect the documents related to the estate. I went there and bumped into Chloe. I don't know if she had any business at Peter's office or if she was just there to mess with me. She tried to corner me in the hallway, calling me a fraud. She came up with full-blown accusations. She forced me to confess that I had tampered with the will. I refrained myself from getting into any sort of confrontations. Chloe is a pathetic person, and she could go to any length to make my life miserable. I yelled back at her and she threatened to sue me on assault charges. You know how easy it is to frame men on these charges. I freed myself and headed straight to Peter's office. Jackie and Chloe were bitter because Dad didn't leave anything for Chloe. Jackie, in fact, tried to bribe Peter to manipulate the will to benefit Chloe. Their constant claim is that Dad was unfair to Chloe. I think he was fair because he left the house and insurance money to Jackie. Even if she uses up the liquid money, the house will eventually come to Chloe from Jackie. It was only fair that I got the equity money. However, Chloe was not ready to accept the will and wanted a share in his investment. Peter explained that the will was made as per my dad's decision, and there's nothing that could be done. They have not taken this well and threatened to sue me over the inheritance. I said, sure, come screw me. However, nothing of that sort has popped up until now. Let's see what they're hatching for me. I'll keep you updated. In the following weeks, I received numerous messages from family members, reminiscing and sharing stories about my dad that I'd never heard before, helping me piece together the parts of his life that I had missed. That's it until now. Thanks for reading this. I find it funny that the inheritance has doubled in value. It's like your dad's way of giving Chloe and Jackie a little extra to stew over. I guess when you play dirty, you get what you deserve. As for Chloe, threatening to sue you, it sounds like she's grasping at straws. Hang in there and keep your chin up. Update 2. There's a new drama unfolding in my life. So yeah, Chloe sued over my inheritance. She alleged that I plotted with my dad's lawyer and manipulated this will against her. She was not ready to accept that Dad had left nothing for her. Since she put Peter on the spot, he fought back in his defense. Not only did he prove the will to be untampered, but also pressed a defamation suit on Chloe. Jackie challenged the will to be outdated, especially on my part. They said Dad intended to give me only $250,000, so it was unfair that I get the full equity at its current price, which was almost $500,000. They demanded $250,000 from my share. One crucial information that came out during the proceedings was that Dad had lent some $20,000 to Chloe. She never returned that money to Dad. When he died, she thought to whisk away that money. Dad had a loan agreement which he had kept in the bank locker. Jackie destroyed that evidence so that Chloe could get away with the money. The interesting part was that Dad had liquidated that $20,000 from the $250,000 equity to give it to Chloe. So ideally, she owed me $20,000, and the court ordered her to pay me the money. I tell you, Chloe didn't like it. She argued that she was cornered, but who can win in front of the judiciary? Ultimately, she had to accept the court orders and pay me back. The look on her face was hilarious. She agreed in court that she would pay it in installments. However, it took a few more court intimations to make her pay the due. After losing the lawsuit, neither Jackie nor Chloe dared to mess up with me again. Peter informed me separately that indeed the will was outdated and Dad intended to update it, but before that, he passed away. Jackie had made his life miserable for the last year after I reconciled with him. Dad had drunk called Peter one night, telling him that he wanted to give nothing to Jackie because she had made his life depressing. Peter asked him to come down to his office and sober and make the changes, but he didn't show up. Peter reminded him again to come down and update it. Dad stalled it, and then he was gone. I don't regret that he left the house to Jackie. I think that was meant to give to her. I'm happy and satisfied that he was thoughtful about me, though it saddens me that he was mistreated because of me. Yeah, some of you asked about my mom. As I had mentioned in my first post, after I moved out from her place, she got remarried and shifted to Eastern Europe. She hasn't come back since then. She has adopted a daughter and is raising her with her husband. I have visited her a couple of times. We keep in touch mostly through chats and emails. I told her about Dad's death and she shared her condolences, but she didn't wish to attend his funeral. It's her choice, and I respect it. So that's it in this situation. Thanks for reading. At least the court had its act together and forced Chloe to pay back what she owed. As for your dad's last-minute changes to the will in his turbulent final year, it's a bittersweet reminder that sometimes people's true feelings come out only when it's too late to fix things. At least you've got closure and your dad managed to leave you a meaningful legacy. Update 3. Hey Reddit, it's been a long time since I posted in this thread. I'm not sure if people following my situation are still around. To summarize it for the new reader, my stepsister tried to block me from attending my dad's funeral. Growing up, I didn't have a good relationship with my dad, thanks to his new wife and stepdaughter. However, the last 1 year before his death, we sort of reconciled. We were still rebuilding our relationship when suddenly I got the news through Dad's lawyer that he died. He helped me attend the funeral because stepsister and her mother blocked my way. The main shocker came when Dad left me his equity money and left nothing for his stepdaughter. She challenged the will, but lost the lawsuit. Fast forward to last week. Jackie suddenly appeared at my door. She looked like a destitute, and indeed she was. She was here for help. Chloe had taken away everything from her. She manipulated Jackie to take out a personal loan for her lucrative business. Jackie, being a supportive mother, took the loan against the house. Chloe's business didn't sustain a fortnight. Jackie tried all means to pay the mortgage for a few months until she wasn't able to. She defaulted on the payment, and the bank seized the house to recover their money. She has no house now. She requested me to take her in. Like, what the F? Why on earth should I take her in? She said she was my stepmother, and as a son, I should take care of her. I laughed at her face. Really? Mom? After all the narcissism, you have the audacity to come back to me and demand shelter. Who do you think you are? I said no. I don't think so. I can't take you in, and was about to shut the door. But to my shock, she started shedding tears. This was the first time I'd ever seen her crying. Not sure if it was good acting or if she was really vulnerable. I asked her why she didn't go to Chloe's. She said Chloe had run away from the city to escape the felony. She had borrowed money from some of her friends and acquaintances. They were chasing her for the money and threatening to sue her for fraud. Hence, she absconded. I was like, sorry, but I can't help you. You need to leave. She refused to leave and pleaded that she was really helpless. She said if I can't give her a place to live, then I should give her the money so that she could find accommodation. She tried to create logic that if Dad was alive, it would have been his responsibility to take care of her. So in his absence, I should step up as his good son. Okay, enough of BSing. You need to leave. I closed the door on her face. She knocked a few more times, but I didn't open it. How could she think that she could suddenly appear in my life and demand help after being a jerk to me all her life? She left after a while and didn't show up again. Feeling bad that my dad's house went for a toss, he worked really hard to own that place. Anyway, there's nothing I can do, so let it pass. Oh, the irony. The audacity of some people is truly astounding. At least you can take comfort in the fact that you've been firm in not letting the past repeat itself. If Jackie thought she could turn her misfortune into a way to worm back into your life, she clearly underestimated you, OP. What would you have done differently? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today in the rLounge. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. See you soon. And put your chair back where you found it.